Hey, it's Derek at MillRight CNC here. We're going to do a wall decor carving. This is going to say Lake Life, and it's got a pocketed version of our local lake. We're going to pour epoxy into the pockets. I think you're going to like it. Let's check it out. So the pocketing portion of the job is done now. If I were making a bunch of these pieces, I would do a couple of things different. First of all, I would use a 1/8 inch end mill to clear a lot of the stock out and just come back with a 1/16. That's what I have in there now. It almost looks like it's broken, but it's there. I would use a 1/16 just for these little fingers and use a 1/8 to clear out most of the stock. That would speed up the job, but since I'm making one piece, I just don't really care. My V2 moves fast enough, and I was doing other work while the machine was running. Speaking of letting the machine do some work, another thing I could have done is I could have done some finishing passes here along the edge. It wasn't so much the top side that I was worried about, because I could just take a little piece of sandpaper, run that across the top, and that's done in 2 seconds. Down in here in the pocket, you could create a little fuzz here. I spent about 5 minutes sanding this out here. I could have let the machine go through with the finishing pass and reduce some of that. If I were making a bunch of these pieces, if this was part of my business and I was selling on Etsy or doing craft shows, selling them in local stores or whatever, I definitely would let the machine do that. The idea of having a CNC machine is you let the machine do work while you do work the machine can't do. So just keep that in mind as you set your jobs up here. I know I'm literally making one of these pieces. If this is part of your business, set it up like you're going to make 100 of them. And in the long term, your business is going to be more efficient. We try and have that philosophy when we're running production on our parts. And I think if you adopt the same mindset when you're making pieces, it's going to help your business too if you're doing this for more than just a hobby. So next we're going to put a 1/4 inch end mill into the machine here, and we're going to contour this out. This is soft pine. The Mega V2 could absolutely kill it in the soft pine. I mean, we could run a few hundred inches a minute here and tear through it. I'm going to run slower because I'm actually running, I've got it on my vacuum bed, the Mega V2 XXL's vacuum bed. I'm not running vacuum. I just have this screwed in 4 places to a sacrificial piece. I didn't want to run vacuum because I knew between cuts I would stop and do a little video talk. So I didn't want that to be roaring in the background. So I know that right here and here and here and here I have a tab. This piece is going to be really thin, so I don't trust that tab a lot. This tab here will be fairly substantial. The tab here and tab here will be fairly substantial. So I'm going to run that 1/4 inch end mill kind of slow, or at least slower than would be for the Mega V2. For a lot of other machines, it would probably be like a fast run. But by Mega V2 standards, it would be a slow run. Just because I don't really trust my work holding. I'm only making one of these pieces. I know I'm being kind of contradictory here, but if you're making, 50 of these pieces for your business, or if this is the first piece you're going to sell, and this is part of your craft business, then set it up to run efficiently for the long term, so you don't find yourself, once it's a hit, coming back and redoing the design work, redoing the work holding. Set it up like you're going to sell a bunch of them the first time, and you're going to be more successful in the long term. So enough talking. Let's get a 1/4 inch end mill in there. Let's contour this out. All right, so we have the 1/4 inch end mill in now. We're about to get going to contour this out. FYI, the Mega V2 is available with a spindle. You're going to see me in a second switch this on. If you want a spindle that turns itself on and off according to your G code, you can get that. One of the things that we've responded to with the Mega V2, customer feedback's indicated some of you want a router, some of you want a spindle. Spindles are available. We sell a couple different router mounts, so you can mount your own router mount. We're using a DW618 here. Frankly, I'm not using a spindle here because we're about to launch this thing, and I've got a limited supply of spindles. I don't want to put them on every single machine we're building here, because every one I put on is one less that we're about to sell. So just using the DW618 here, it's a fine solution. But if I had the spindle on here, I wouldn't need to switch this on. I could let my G code do it and just put a dwell in for it to spin up to speed. But I'll turn this on and we'll get going. So I have my piece ready. I've got equal parts hardener and dye. Got it mixed up here. Maybe mix it a little bit better before I pour. I'm not going to worry about over pour here because I'm just going to sand this down. I'm going to plane it down. So I expect to get some over pour, but that's okay. I'm going to wipe up the excess with a rag as I go. But let's have at it. Let's mix a little more here. Try and get it in all the little crevices. Again, the overspill I'm not worried about. Because I'm going to come back and sand that. And I'll wipe up the excess. Now, one thing you have to watch out for, and I am no epoxy expert, as you can see, one thing you have to watch out here for, if you blend colors, then you move on to the next. If I move on to this L here, you gotta make sure you blend that same mix, or else everything's gonna look a little bit different. So here I definitely didn't blend up enough. So I'm going to have to get that same mixture to make sure it all looks the same. I use this last little bit to make sure that I've got enough fill. A little area I didn't fill enough. Alright, I'll wipe up the excess. I'm going to get a little more and we'll go from there. Alright, I mix some back up. I'm going to finish this pour. If you haven't figured it out by now, you definitely want to wear some gloves. If not, you're going to have a huge mess to clean up. Now, also, do not move this. Let it cure up. You don't want to slosh things around. Things are still very loose right now. Let it cure up, then move it.